So a few days ago, I went to the Trash Taste live tour show in Minneapolis, and it was really fun. Or it was in St. Paul, but it was really fun. I want to talk about it a little. Like if anyone is watching this who's like going, like this will be kind of like I guess spoilers. So if you want to be surprised, don't watch this. But uh, I'm gonna go through like what it was, what happened, my experience. So, getting right into it, like I got tickets super early, so I had pretty good seats. So that was like an enjoyable part of it. I got to like see them pretty close, and so right away I got there, huge line. Eventually got in the door, and then there's a huge merch line. So they do merch before and after the show. So I was able to get it before though because I got earlier enough where I could like get it. I had time to get in the line before like the line kept growing and growing and growing. Like they were going up a staircase at one point. It was insane. So like I think probably half the people had to get merch after. But once the merch I got, they had a lot of merch. There's a shirt I'm wearing. I'll show you in a second. And then I also got this poster. This was the only like signed or kind of like really interesting exclusive thing they had. Like, this is for sure the only signed thing. So I definitely wanted to get it. But it's just a poster of like the tour schedule. And so they also had the shirt, a sweatshirt, which is like almost the same thing as this, and then they had a hat and a pin. I believe that was it. So here's a shirt. I'll show you. So first of all, it has their logo, and then I believe the T-shirt. So I believe the T-shirt has this little patch thing, but I don't think the sweatshirt has it. So that's like the only difference. And then the back is really cool. It's like a regular tour shirt. So I'll show you. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I think this yeah, like I said, I think the sweatshirt's the same thing, but it doesn't have that patch. Uh so then I after I got my merch, sat down in my seat, and then the show started. So they do tell you you're not allowed to have phones out for like the entire thing. You can't have your phone out at all. So that's probably why you haven't seen many videos of the show. But it starts, it's super cool, the lights dim, and then they run out, and everyone's like, yeah, everyone's going crazy. It was awesome. And so they run out, and then they're like doing their little introduction thing, and then they do say, uh we know, hey guys, we know you want to take pictures, show people like like have some proof that you're here type of thing. And so for the next 10 seconds you can take whatever photos you want. And then they do like some poses and stuff, and then they like they were doing like JoJo poses, and then they're they're like dabbing and stuff. So it was pretty like kind of fun, fun right off the bat. You're like, all right, this gonna be a good show. Like, they knew we want to take pictures, and they let us at least type of thing. So, here's some pictures of that too, though.
Yeah! Yeah! Oh!
And so after that, though, then they got started into the show. So overall, the show wasn't what I expected. I expected them to kind of like do like a live show like any other one of their shows would be, like, or any one of their like regular podcasts would be, where they just like sit down and talk about something. And then I thought it would be that, but then they like include the audience a lot more. And I was very wrong, but it was still as fun and like as entertaining as I expected, if not more. Like, it was super fun. But what it was is they did three game shows, so there's like three segments, and each segment was hosted by one of them. And so the first segment they had was like, I don't know if they'll probably change the order, or they might even switch out the game shows at some point so they don't get like static, I guess, by the end of the tour. But the first one they did for us was, it was like, how well do you know the host? So like Joey hosted that one, and then they said they like switch it out. So I think it was like Garnt was the first host for the first show in L.A., and then Joey was the host for the second one. So, and then third show was in Chicago. So I'm assuming Connor was the host for that one there. But so Joey was like, he had to like pull from a trash can of like questions about him. So one was like, what type of animal is he, or would he be if he had to be an animal? And then so then Garnt and Connor made a guess, and then the audience, like, there's someone running around the audience with a microphone, and then she gave it to like some random person, and then that person would make a guess, and then so that person like represented the audience each, that she kept like doing a different person, obviously. So you were like, it was kind of like the whole audience was one team. So that was really cool. That was a fun game. And then the second game show was the second like segment was the longest. It was probably three times longer than the other segments. Like seriously, it was super long. But who hosted? I don't know who hosted that one. Connor hosted that one. And so that one, when we walked in the building, there was like these QR codes everywhere, and you scanned them, and it was like a survey. So they asked you like questions, or like one was like specific to like Minnesota. They're like, what what word or term defines Minnesota for you, and then you write something. But they have like 10 of those different questions, so they had a ton of them, and it was basically Family Feud. So, uh, they'd ask a question, so it was like, what defines Minnesota, and then the people who weren't the host, so uh, who did I just say? So it'd be Gart and Joey for that one would have to guess. They would have to guess who sorry, they would have to do like a Family Feud guess, and then whoever got closer got points, or I think they just got points if they got it correct. And so that one was really fun. That was probably the most fun segment, and it was also the longest, so that was really cool. But the thing that was cool about that is it's kind of like specific to that audience because it's their answers, and then they like specify it to your state as well, you know. And so that was really cool where you're kind of like talking about your area. So I really love that segment. Um, there wasn't like too much like audience interaction in that segment, I guess. Overall, there's a ton of audience interaction. Like the first segment is the only one where they had like they were giving microphones to people, but throughout the whole thing, they were reacting to what the audience was doing. So that the audience was cheering, you know, they say something, or if someone random like shouted out something, like consistently, they'd like call out to that person and then like respond to them, you know. So like if you heckled, they kind of like made it part of the show. So it was fun and interesting. And the third segment, the last segment, so who that be hosted by? Jeez, I'm blanking here. Be hosted by Garnt. So that was a like argument thing. So some of the like the classic debates they've had on Trash Taste, they had in the trash can. And so when Garnt pulled one out, and then he'd be like, "Oh, sorry, who like they trade off going first." So like Connor will pull one out, and then it'd be like condiments. One of them was like condiments. Really windy outside. Sorry. Like condiments are bad, and then even though he disagrees with it, he has to defend that take. And then so he gets 1 minute, and then Joey had to go on and then do the counter take. So like condiments are good. So uh that was like an interesting one. That was fun. And then they gauged who won by the audience interaction. So like or by the audience's sound. So they're like a sound meter. So the louder you cheered, like the higher the bar would go type of thing. And so they were able to see who won by that. So that was really fun. And then so overall too, at the end of each segment, there was a loser. Or sorry, there's a loser and a winner, right? So the loser had to do like a punishment from a punishment wheel. And so the punishment wheel spanned for the first one, and it was the host chooses the punishment from the wheel. So the host, everyone in the audience was shouting. One of the other punishments was for them to sing the national anthem. So the host or Joey for the first one, he was like, all right, I have to listen to the audience here, and Garnt lost the first one, so Garnt had to like start singing the national anthem, and he didn't know the national anthem, so everyone in the crowd started standing up and doing the national anthem, and we're all like standing there and doing the national anthem. It was hilarious, and then it was funny because at the next one they actually rolled into that punishment, so they rolled into Connor, I believe it was Connor, had to sing the national anthem, and he wait, no, I wouldn't have got it. I don't know. Connor had to roll the punishment wheel at some point, and so he had to sing the national anthem. It's so funny. So that time, everyone is singing the national anthem again, and they kept bringing that back. Uh, the funniest part of the show, honestly, was Connor called the audience Wisconsin by accident. Like he was trying to say like hi Minnesota, and he just went hi Wisconsin, and then he went like Minnesota crap, and then everyone like paused for a minute, and then everyone was just boo boo boo. So that was really funny because everyone was just booing him, and I think he tweeted about it too, and he's like no, I did not call Minnesota Wisconsin, it did not happen. And then I saw like a YouTube clip of him talking about it too, where he's like, yeah, I actually called them Wisconsin, and then everyone booed me. And that was hilarious. Uh, but yeah, so the show was really fun. There was a lot of audience interaction. That was the whole point, right? But it wasn't the audience interaction I expected. I just wanted to say that again. It was I expected it to be more of like handing the microphone to someone, and it there besides the first segment, it wasn't really that, but like it didn't hold back the show at all. The show was like one of the most fun things I've done or gone to in a long time, and it was a great experience. If you have a show near you and you haven't got tickets yet, try to get tickets if it's not sold out. It was a very fun experience. I would definitely go again if they did another tour. And yeah, it was really fun. So, and if you're already have tickets and you're going, expect a really fun time. Probably the best thing in its entirety about the show as a whole is it felt like we got a unique experience, and it felt like we were the special show, which I can tell right away they're just making like they're able as entertainers to make us like our audience feel special, and like we have like a good show. Like they didn't say like, oh, you guys are the best show, and we were only the second show, so it would make sense for them to say that. But like it felt special. It felt like a unique experience that no other city was gonna get, and I'm sure every city's gonna feel that way. So that was the best thing they were able to do for the show. And then in terms of the ending, they thanked everyone, and then everyone's like started clapping and saying like thank you. We even gave him a standing ovation, I think. So that was great. And then yeah, I mean that was the end of the show. You can get merch again after the show if you want, like I said earlier. And then left and went home. And so yeah, that was really fun. So yeah, that was just my experience with the show. So thanks for watching. Hey Slippery, butter out.